2, 3.
And with our hearts full of love for the Latin American people, it's clear what we must do.
First thing you do is start deporting people, not by the hundreds, not by the dozens, by the thousands.
It's a tough love. Or a very soft hate.
Lazarus was dead, okay?
That whole thing also didn't happen.
Amazing Grace, I'm a total loser.
The world's largest atheist orgy.
That's what I... Gay porn. Also, penguins are kind of high.
And welcome to Atheist Airwaves, your no-filter look at current news and issues facing atheists and the atheist community on Secular FM. I'm Jay Guerrero.
I'm Christian Ferris.
And I'm Reb Spence.
And I'm Susan Turpin. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter by searching for Atheist Airwaves. We record live every Tuesday at 7:30 Central, so if you're listening via podcast, we encourage you to join us in the Ustream chat room and catch all the really fun things that don't make it to the recorded version.
Or sometimes do.
Sometimes they do.
Occasionally.
Depends on how drunk Christian is when he's editing. Our intro audio this week is from Stephen Colbert from the Colbert Report, who I think is a Catholic. Maybe the chat room
I think so.
Guy.
I heard he taught Sunday school once.
that might be true. Maybe the chat room could tell us. Anyway, he had a hilarious take on the whole immigration crisis on our border this week. And speaking of maybe not so much of a soft hate, Atheist Airwaves got more mail this week than in the previous 44 weeks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay. We like it.
We're so proud.
Yeah, good job.
Too bad it wasn't good stuff.
People really hate you, Jay.
And well, they should.
On a plus side, a lot of the people who aren't going to listen to our show anymore, they were really big fans of our show. They thought it was one of their favorites. It was best. So we were super popular with our former listeners.
You alienated a lot of people, bro.
I actually don't believe that's very true.
Okay. I take them at their word. Anyway, I thought we'd start the show this week and just read a couple of representative samples of the kinds of hate mail that Jay got.
There you go. That's better phrasing.
Yeah, because I think the hate mail started with us yelling at you. But anyway, so let's start with the most concise message we got via Twitter, of course. At Aaron Stodhart wrote, Atheist Airwaves, I respect well thought out positions from all sides of a debate. Fuck you, Jay.
Okay, so he respects all well thought out positions,
Right.
and that's probably where I should start because the position I took was not well thought out. Like I said, it was a knee jerk reaction. Christian's seen it more than once. I can be swayed on a thing, but beyond that, when you get Jay riled up, I tend to stop thinking logically and just start being a dick.
Like most theists.
And if you keep poking me, oh, that was fucked up. If you keep poking me with the stick, I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah. Well,
it's the fight or flight thing, and I'm gonna fucking fight. Fuck you.
Yeah, you ran with it. So I also wanted to mention that listener, Aaron, actually has 0 followers and 2 tweets. So 50% of anything he's ever said on Twitter is "fuck you, Jay."
Wait, what was his other tweet, though?
It was a video of something I can't remember. But
Was it him like smashing a teddy bear that he named Jay?
I fucking hope so.
anyway, it's Aaron Stoddard, AARONSTOTHART. Everyone go follow that guy. He hates Jay, so he's smart enough. I'm sure his Twitter feed is going to be worthwhile as the "fuck you." Well, maybe the "fuck you, Jays" will just increase. Maybe that could be his thing.
Maybe.
Just every week, a brief thought. Fuck you, Jay. I would support that.
Less.
I think everyone's Twitter, like their little tweets or whatever the hell they're called, should end with "fuck you, Jay."
Or if this could be our new listener thing, just anytime you call into the show, when you sign off, just sign off with "fuck you, Jay." That would be awesome.
It was like Roger that or 10-4 or whatever. Just end every statement with "fuck you, Jay."
Fuck you, Jay. All right. I wanted to read one more. This is a longer one. This one came in on atheistairwaves.com from Scott Hamilton, who had more than 144 characters, so he was a little more long-winded. But again, this is also pretty representative of the dozens of emails we got. He says, I have to say I'm really disappointed with Jay's knee-jerk reaction. I thought you were better than that. You're coming across as one of these teabagger scumbags.
Ooh.
Have some compassion for your fellow man. You say we can afford it financially. You admitted we can focus on more than one thing as a nation. You understand that government is not giving aid to these kids. It's coming from private individuals and charitable companies. Yet you'd still send them back to be killed, even though it costs more than keeping them here. What the fuck, man? I never comment on any of the podcasts I've been listening to for years, but I was disturbed enough tonight to, which is difficult for me as your podcast was one of my favorites. Imagine my surprise at the irony of the person who talks like a redneck teabagger about how we were here in our borders. We need to help our own, having a last name like Guerrero. Tell me, when exactly did your family come to the States? And before you respond to Scott, I just wanted to add to his sense of overwhelming irony. Don't you also have Native American heritage?
Quite a bit.
Okay. What, in the words of Scott Hamilton, what the fuck?
Okay, so let me first say, you thought better of me? Why?
Yeah. Well, clearly he doesn't know Jim.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean, I'll be honest, though. Having listened back to the segment, I'm disappointed with myself. And I think everyone was absolutely right to beat the shit out of me verbally. It was well deserved. So there was this one smart guy once. I think he said something about an equal and opposite reaction for every action.
Yeah, that's true.
So
although he was a theist, so you know.
Yeah.
you can only take it so far.
No one's perfect.
So obviously there was an equal reaction from you guys,
and maybe an unequal reaction from the universe. But
well, the opposite reaction, it came when it bugged the crap out of me, and I told you this. You and I talked about
like almost immediately.
Yeah, it was bugging the crap out of me. Why I was taking this stance, because as you know, I thought about it, and I'm going, okay, each of these individual issues, I don't have anything against. Kids, of course, you know, nobody knows, or everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of kids. I don't really want to be around them, but I don't hate them.
You don't want them to be killed.
Right. There's no real reason for that.
Unless it's a plague or something, then it's like,
Sure, I guess.
We'll just let that go.
And then immigration, you know, it's not a topic that I have a whole lot into, although I probably should. I'm lackluster about it. It's not a topic that I've ever really given much, care to.
And not a whole lot of thought to that particular topic. Although I have to say, I think that this issue, and if you're getting tired of hearing about the immigration issue, unless something big happens, I think this is the last week we're really going to talk a lot about it. This is different from the usual immigration issues that we face as a country. These are refugees, that's true. These are refugees from violence. Usually what we're getting is refugees from poverty, which, I'm still sympathetic to, but I'm appalled by a lot of people who can't see that this is a truly different situation that we're dealing with. We're talking about children who are being sent hundreds and thousands of miles by their parents alone. I read an interview last week with a parent who gave their daughter birth control pills before they sent her off because they figured that the likelihood of her being raped between Honduras and the United States was pretty high, and they just didn't want her to get pregnant on the way. Yeah.
yeah, and the violence rate is so high there. It's literally 5 times higher than Iraq, which is insane.
War zone.
Yes.
It's a war zone.
Now, the fact is they are refugees, and the stance I took was extreme and very uninformed, and I took the time to do a lot of reading on it and educate myself a lot more on the whole issue. And I think part of why it bothered me is that it was such an extreme stance that I took, and one that I really didn't have anything behind. I kind of came down to a couple of reasons as to why I did that and why I took that response. First is just because I like being contrary when it comes to Christian, and I just want to argue with Christian. But secondly is once I take a stance on something, I tend to stick to it.
In.
Yeah, I dig in, and especially when you start poking me with the proverbial stick, I'm gonna fight. I'm not gonna back off of it. It is a humanitarian issue at its core, and it should be handled as such. Now, it's not an issue that I particularly have a whole lot in, and it's not something that I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, doing it. But there's absolutely no reason, if that is your issue, if that is an issue that you care about and that you want to help with, there's not any reason that I or anyone else should stand between you and these kids in getting some help.
The chat room is disappointed that they have to put away their pitchforks. Actually, they're asking if they actually have to. So I would just say, no, you really don't.
I've got a couple of pitchforks. If they want to come and tear my door down and get them in and poke me with them.
But before the end of the show, he is very, very likely to say something that is going to cause them to get the pitchforks out again.
So keep them on the standby.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It is possible. But let me say, I'm wrong. And I was wrong about that, and apologies, because I shouldn't have taken that stance, being uninformed, uneducated, and I shouldn't have been a dick about it.
Yep. Well,
I'm not apologizing to you though, Christian.
Yeah, I know.
Never.
And to your credit, I will say that you've done that on a lot of issues. While you do the dumbass thing, you do come around once you're presented with evidence and facts, and so I appreciate that. Let's so this weekend. 9 people from Corpus Christi Atheists, including 5 of us here, contributors to Atheist Airwaves, myself, Susan, Reb, Jeff Grime, Jesse Garza, and others went down to McAllen, Texas on the border to attend a counter protest because they were, these teabaggers were planning on doing a protest against helping the refugees. We brought supplies that were, that we bought with generous donations, not just from Corpus Christi Atheists, but also from our listeners across the country and also from theists even here in town. Mm-hmm. So we raised a lot of money, brought a lot of stuff down there. My first impression of the counter protest that we were attending.
It was a counter demonstration vigil.
Right. Well, there were so many crosses. Oh my God. Everywhere. It was like a graveyard. I mean, that's how many.
So you had to join the throng of crosses in order to be part of this?
Oh, it was more than just crosses, man.
Oh yeah. It was pretty brutal.
They were like Jesus is on crosses or what?
Well, I mean, they were Catholics, so.
Well, no, there were a whole bunch. It was an interfaith thing. So they were Native American Mayans. I don't know.
Some weird
Catholics, Presbyterian.
Oh, it was a Santeria, right? That's what it was called.
I
Native
think so,
American
I'm not
Mayans.
Sure.
I don't know.
Do you see the irony in that statement?
That's racist.
I was saying
Okay.
We were having trouble figuring out exactly what they were. It was interesting because they were praying.
Brown people.
They were praying to the earth and, our loving earth. Meanwhile, they're dumping trash all over the parking lot.
Yeah.
Fucking kidding me?
No.
Well, there were supposed to be petals, but they were plastic.
No. This is before they went out there.
Oh, okay.
So Leslie was the one who saw this, and she was beside herself for like an hour or two after it happened. They had flower petals, and they were in plastic bags, and they were putting them in bowls for their ceremony, and then just like throwing the plastic bags on the ground.
See, that's something I would have gotten pissed off by. Literally, during this week, I stopped in the middle of the road, picked up a beer bottle that some kid threw out of his window, chased him down, and gave it back to him.
Well, that's pretty much what Leslie did, and they acted put out. They're like, "Why are you giving us our trash? We put it on the ground for a reason."
It belongs there.
They took it eventually, but
They needed that
Good
one.
job, Leslie.
The one anti-littering campaign, and what was it, like the 70s? Like
The Indian.
panning to the Indian with a tear running down his face.
I wish I could do that. Like, just cue up one tear, let it fall.
Have you
Eye
ever
drops.
queued up a tear ever?
So it was really weird because it was way, way religious. But then everyone who was coming up to us to thank us for being there was like, "Oh, I'm actually an atheist too." It's like, well, then what the hell is all of this?
Did you recruit any of them?
It was really weird, but like they're all South. They're
Well,
all like McKellen people.
The one guy I was talking to was saying that like they had to make it an interfaith demonstration, or else a lot of the people wouldn't have showed up.
Yeah, and
That
that's why
makes
they called it that's why they called it the vigil too.
That sucks. If your God has to be involved or you're not going to help people, fuck you.
No, I agree. But at the same time, if you actually want to, have some sort of effect on the situation, you're going to go for the biggest bang.
Oh, sure. No. I'm not faulting the organizers, but I'm faulting the people who won't show up unless they get to make it about their little sky daddy person.
Yeah, they're bigger pricks than I am.
Yeah, that Muslim preacher, God, he went on forever. It's like, geez, are you done yet? Man.
Yeah.
I really just wanted to mention something about like anal jihads, like just sort of.
Have you done that, sir?
What is your position on inserting explosives into your rectum?
Did you get that fatwa?
So just a couple of things I wanted to mention before we're going to call Stephanie Moon, because she almost got thrown out of the shelter
Yes.
where she volunteers. So we were counter protesting. We were trying to offset a planned protest by teabaggers, and they canceled as soon as they saw how many people we had. So there were 100 to 200 people
Yeah.
there. We got there earlier than they were planning to show up. They canceled.
Three of them showed up and started looking around like, wait a minute, are we not in the right place? Are we in the wrong place for our anti-children demonstration?
Right. These three old lady teabaggers are the only ones who didn't get the memo that they had canceled it. We did.
Good job.
I want to say that I don't have a problem with the Border Patrol. They have a job that is critical to do, and I feel like a lot of Border Patrol people feel like this is about them, and it's not, except that they're kind of douchey. At least the ones I saw at the protest were kind of making snide faces.
Really?
And,
One of them was taking pictures.
right.
And Jeff was saying also the Ted Cruz speech got canceled too because the teabag people.
Well, I think that's why they canceled it, is because Ted Cruz is like, oh, hell no, I'm not going out there with
Speaking of the Border Patrol, my boss, and he's discussed this with me throughout the week because his sister, I think, is Border Patrol in the region. And they feel really bad about, at least some of them feel really bad about the whole situation and the fact that, it is their job to a lot of times send these kids back, and, not just kids and everything. But apparently it's really, really taxing on the resources and really taxing on all of them because it's such an influx that they can't handle it like they normally would be able to. So they're like not only physically but emotionally taxed by this whole situation.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel for them.
But see, here's the thing, is that, everybody's been making a big deal about Rick Perry sending in the National Guard this week. But the thing is that Rick Perry is the one who's responsible for there being fewer Border Patrol agents. He is the one who cut the budget for the Border Patrol. So really, if you're going to sit there and complain about the fact that we're sending in the National Guard, complain about Rick Perry cutting their budget.
Right. So just to wrap up our weekend, after we left the demonstration, we went to the shelter. We got to kind of look in, but they weren't accepting volunteers until 2 p.m. So we went to drop off our donations at the Rio Grande Valley Food Bank. And as we're dropping off, they're like, are you here to volunteer? And we're like, well, we could be.
Okay.
So we spent a few hours volunteering there, sorting food and whatnot. It was boring and hot.
Yeah.
It was literally, I think, Jacob, who was volunteering with us, he's a CCA'er, phrased it as it was 5 minutes of work and then 20 minutes of waiting. And that was really, really what it was.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they had some sort of volunteer coordinator. It just felt like, people were standing there. It's like, give me a job, please. I'm bored.
But it was nice to be able to contribute. Ultimately, I guess because of the protest, they didn't even need volunteers at the shelter. They were overwhelmed. So
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well,
so
even when some of us went back at 2 after, because some of us just went and ate instead of hanging around at the food bank. Even when we went back at 2, we were like, can we help? Can we do anything? Do y'all need us to do anything? And she was like, no, we actually have way too many people right now.
Right.
Too many Indians, not enough chiefs.
Yeah,
That's
something
a weird
like
problem
that.
to have.
It's not all that uncommon. All right, so I want to bring Stephanie in to the conversation. She has been, if you haven't listened to the episode, it's the only post show that we've actually broadcasted. You can go back into our feed and find it. She has been volunteering long hours at this shelter, helping out all of the refugees who are coming in. She speaks Spanish, so she's really, really valuable. And she had an interesting experience with Ted Cruz and Glenn Beck this weekend, so I want to bring her in.
I wonder if anyone will be able to tell what the number is based on the little dial tone. Or is that just a default sound?
That's
Just default.
Yeah.
Trying to get all hackerish on this.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, of course.
I guess I'd
Why
be a
wouldn't
freaker.
you?
Be a freaker, not a hacker.
Well,
I think she's on her phone, so it may not work correctly because I think she's going to be away from her computer.
Damn it, Stephanie.
I'll message her on Facebook and be all like, where the hell are you?
Tell her, message her and tell her to call in. We'll keep talking for a minute and see if she can do that.
It's going to throw everything off if we can't get her on the phone.
That's all right. We've got plenty. We've got more to talk about than we know what to do with.
And this is dead air that will be
Yeah,
edited
it'll
out.
be edited out. For those of you on Ustream and YouTube, sorry about that. You can go to iTunes and get the edited
So
version.
who all went down there with you guys?
Okay, it was the 5 of us. Well, the 3 of us, and then
There's not 5 people here.
well, I'm just saying the 5 Atheist Airwaves people. The 3, Reb, me, Susan, Jeff, Grime, Jessica Garza. Oh, here comes Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie.
Just hung up on
Fine.
Why are you going to hang up on her?
Jeff Grime, Jesse Garza.
Jesse Garza, Courtney.
Courtney Creasy came. Felipe Martinez. Is that it?
Leslie Sessions.
Leslie Sessions.
Oh yeah, her too.
I meant to include her in our.
Screw her.
I meant to include her in contributors.
She wants to beat me.
A lot of people want to beat you.
Yeah. We were all antagonizing each other
Right.
the whole time. It was fun though.
All right, let's try this again. Stephanie, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, look, there's a
Lock
face.
in. Right, well, there's like a forehead.
Ceiling.
I was trying not to video call because I look like shit.
Whoops. Oh, you look fine. Okay, so we were just talking about the demonstration we went to this weekend and volunteering at the food bank and the shelter and all that stuff. And I wanted to talk to you. First of all, The Blaze actually posted a picture of her with Glenn Beck.
Nice.
Right.
After there were people in that thread screaming about how you were a dirty illegal and, and you should be deported.
That's awesome.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they had to delete so many comments. People were so mad about you.
Can we delete? Can we delete? Can we
What did they
deport her?
say?
Can we deport?
Can we
Stephanie?
deport her? We probably can. Well, I mean, these people are willing to do it.
Let's do it. Do you want to be deported,
What did they
Stephanie?
say exactly.
Well, they were just saying, oh, look at that girl. She's illegal. Get her out of here. Send her back. And people were like, dude, she's wearing the green vest. That's what they give the volunteers. She's an American helping people. But most.
She has her green card. Don't worry. She's fine.
Obama probably gave it to her.
Thanks,
I
Obama.
did not know that. I saw that somebody put she has a green vest, like something about her green vest, and like I don't know if somebody was saying nasty comments about me or somebody named David Johnson.
I don't remember. But
I don't know either. I just commented once and then left it alone.
Yeah, they were, like I said, they were deleting those comments as fast as they were coming in. So that was interesting. But tell us about meeting Glenn Beck and Ted Cruz.
What was that?
Tell us about meeting Glenn Beck and Ted Cruz.
Oh man. Okay, so I met Glenn Beck, right? He came into the center and I was the first one to greet him actually. And he came in, he was walking in, I was taking pictures of him, and then I introduced myself to him and I told him I had been
No. She's gonna come back any second now. Still connected. It's just
Halfway through her
lagging.
story.
I know, right? It's like just getting excited.
Kill the video.
I don't think I can do that on this end. I think unless you can. Oh, we're trying to connect.
I really wanted to ask something like Glenn Beck looks like he smells like mothballs or something. Can you edit that out so it's funny whenever I ask her?
We'll try one more time, and if this doesn't work, we'll just.
Oh?
Hello.
Is that better?
We got rid of the video, so maybe it won't drop out this time.
Dude, what the hell happened? I don't know. I think I pressed the button with my fat face.
Okay. All right. So you were talking about Glenn Beck.
Oh yeah, so he was asking me how's it been, and he had like a real sympathetic look in his eyes. He was like, how's it going here? And I'm like, well, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty hectic. There's a lot of people, but we're trying to help them as much as we can. And he's like, that's good. And then I shook his wife's hand, and I was like, are you ready to see for yourself? And he was like, yeah. And so, and then I just took him inside, and then like there was cameras everywhere, and like he went in and talked to the to the higher ups, and then he started taking a tour of the place. He met with this El Salvadorian man and his 2 teenage boys, and I was translating for them his story, and he started to cry, like he was holding back tears.
Wow. Although Glenn Beck is known to cry.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy cries a lot. So I don't know. I don't know whether that's indicative that he actually has a soul, or whether he just cries a lot.
I mean, but obviously he felt touched by the man's story.
Sure.
I mean, either way, he still wants him to be deported. So whatever.
I feel sympathetic
Whatever the
towards
hell,
you.
But
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. He spoke to him, and asked him his trip over here. He was really interested in how they got across the border, like the river itself.
So that we can plug that hole, right?
How did you get over here so we can stop other people from doing it that way?
Exactly. Yeah. And then after that, he just went on and did his whole little, just toured the place. Before he did all that, actually, he unloaded boxes from the trailer himself, so that way, for the photo ops or whatever.
Right. I was going to say, how much work did he actually do after?
No, he just a couple boxes, and then.
Did the boxes actually have anything in them?
They were empty.
I knew
Because that's
it.
what I heard about the Ted Cruz
I
one.
knew it.
One box, he held it for 10 seconds and then just dropped it, basically.
I hate these assholes.
Yeah. One box, he Ted Cruz only got I didn't really pay attention to him. I didn't care.
That
I
shit
was
really
doing something
makes
else
me
at the
mad.
time, but Ted Cruz, yeah, he helped or whatever. He lifted a box and then whatever went on about
Oh,
it.
that just doing that for the media spot and making
Yeah.
a show of it. Oh, that pisses me off to no end.
Especially when he's not trying to help anybody. He's
No.
actively trying not to help people, and he's going down there to get his picture taken. That just drives me absolutely insane.
And
does.
it's
It
so
does.
contradictory because he's sitting there saying, send it back, but here, let me give you a few things in order to make me feel like not such a piece of trash.
Well, it's kind of like the Colbert clip. It's like, oh, we love you so much. Break the hell out.
Right.
So I have to ask, does Glenn Beck smell like mothballs? Because he really looks like he does.
No. Oh my god, that's hilarious. No, I don't know. I didn't smell him. I didn't smell him.
Well, that's good.
I was too concerned. My heart. I was super nervous because there were so many cameras and pictures going off, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I'm sweating. It's really disgusting. I was just really nervous, and he's famous. He may be an asshole or whatever, but he's famous, and
So you were starstruck.
not starstruck because I was talking to him, and I wasn't talking to him like he was a celebrity or an important person. I was just talking to him like he was another person, like a human being, whatever. And
Well, that's your
but no,
first
I was
mistake.
nervous.
So tell us about almost getting tossed out.
Oh, check this out. Okay, so towards the end of the thing, everybody's outside, and I'm trying to get some families that they need to go on their bus already. While I was out there, I asked the sister Norma, which is the nun, who runs the shelter or whatever. I asked her if it'd be cool if it was okay with her that I asked Senator Ted Cruz a question, and she's like, yeah, and she was like, yeah, go for it, you do whatever you want, but I had to take off my green vest, the one that says Catholic Charities on it, and so I took it off, and when the Ted Cruz was walking towards the Think Progress was there,
Yep, we talked to them actually.
Oh, right on. Okay. Well, they were there, and so I was talking to the girl and the guy from Think Progress, and then there was other people there waiting to ask him some questions. And I was standing there with him because I wanted to ask Ted Cruz a question, which was going to be after visiting these people and seeing them, do you still want to deport them? And because I really just want, I know he was going to say yes, but I kind of just wanted to put him on the spot.
Sure.
Because fuck him, right?
Yeah, well, if he's going to be down there for a photo op, make him ask and make him answer the actual question.
Right. And that pissed me off. So I was standing there waiting, and I was recording some of the stuff he was saying, and I was like, and then he kept going on. He literally just blamed the whole thing on Obama, which we all know he does. So of course, it was like Obama unilaterally, blah 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 blah. That's because of Obama. That's why all these immigrants are coming over. So whatever. So as I was waiting, the director, the City of McAllen dude, I don't know his official title, but he comes over to me. He's like, "Are you a volunteer?" And I said yes. And he's like, "Well, you need to either stay a volunteer or you need to leave."
Wow.
And I was like, Sister Norma said I could ask him a question as long as I didn't have my vest. He's like, "I don't care what she said." And he was being real, he was really angry. You could tell he was shaking and stuff.
Yeah.
And so then, and then the entourage dude that was with Senator Ted Cruz, he did the whole and the finger thing. He pointed his finger and was like, just a second. That thing that people do.
Yeah.
So you do it, but they don't do it directly. He just put his finger up and he's like, shh, give me 1 second. like when I was trying to ask Senator Ted Cruz a question, and like it was ridiculous, dude. I was like so upset. I was so upset because I'm like, this guy's supposed to be working for the people, and I'm just I want to ask him a question. I'm a Texas citizen. I want to ask him a question. I have a fucking right to do that, you know. And I was just shut up by the city of McAllen dude and by his entourage.
Yeah.
And his because I had asked his regional director. She knew one of my friends. And I asked her if I could ask him a question. She said, and she was kind of nervous about it because, you know, I have tattoos. I mean, you know, I had hair, my hair's all dyed or whatever.
Right.
So she knew I was going to ask him like a crazy liberal question. and you could tell like she was talking to the city of McAllen guy, like probably telling him to tell me to shut up or whatever.
Right. Well, we're going to let you go, but thank you again so much for all the work you're doing down there. I wish we had been able to spend more time with you while we were down there, but we're going to be down. We're going to be down again soon, I'm sure. We're talking to those people, and I would just say to our listeners that I know we already asked you to donate to our thing, but if you go look up Be Secular, Mark Nebo, he's got another thing going on through the Foundation Beyond Belief, and so they've got a goal of raising $50,000 purely from atheists around the country. So if you are so inclined and you still have money to give, please go find that. I'll try and put something in the show notes for that. But thank you so much for everything you do, Stephanie.
Thanks,
No,
Stephanie.
thank you. No, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
No, goddammit.
No, thank you.
Please.
We'll call you the next time we need to talk about this issue, if that's okay with you.
Hell yeah, dude.
Is that all she's worth? Is that all we're just gonna call her about?
No. We've got other things in the
But she can call and she has other things to talk about.
Yeah. You're always welcome in our show because you're awesome. Looks like,
Thanks, guys.
She's like, I know.
Later.
yeah, no shit, guys. All right, see you.
Bye.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
All right. Let's move on to actual news stories.
Actual news.
Well, I guess that is actual news, but
I guess that's what you meant. All right, so the next assault on traditional marriage may be led by man's best friend. Jack Renshaw, the leader of the British National Party Youth, made a veiled threat against his very own dog named Derek, saying, I wish my dog would stop licking the penises of other male dogs. I love Derek, but don't challenge my principles because my principles will likely win.
that was unexpected and awesome.
High five.
That's-
High five. Good
That
job.
sounded a little more like lower
Scottish.
class
It sounded
British, though. He had like the real proper, like
I
upper
sounded
class
like
British.
Scottish to me. I don't know. Whatever.
You can tell lower class and upper class by their fucking accent?
Yes.
Really?
Actually, the different areas around England,
Yeah.
the accent changes. I
You're
should
gonna
have talking to the mic.
Yes.
Yeah, like Cockney accent, Liverpool accent, like a
And that
London
determines
accent.
their hierarchy within the.
Sure, it's
Yes, they have a
Yeah.
class system.
So I mean, you have rednecks who you can tell that they're rednecks by listening to them.
And this guy in particular is like the KKK of Britain. You know.
I know rich rednecks.
All right. So,
He's like, of course you do.
They're still
Fucking
trashy.
teabagger.
but the British National Party Youth, that sounds to me like something like the Hitler Youth, and it's totally that. I
Yeah.
mean, these guys are crazy.
Yo, they're like a mixture of like the Tea Party, KKK, anti-capitalism, and the youth group, then also prepubescence.
Yeah, and the British Nationalist Party is crazy. I've never heard of them before because I'm not British and whatever. But they sound very similar to you, Jay, in the last show. Just to kick you while you're down. They say that dead British soldiers did not fight for multiculturalism, political correctness, or to see our country flooded with foreigners and our own people made into second-class citizens. They are absolutely insane. One other thing I wanted to...
I'm sitting. I didn't sound anything like that.
No, you totally
No, I
did.
didn't.
Yeah.
You totally
No, I
did.
didn't.
I'll give you that much credit.
Right. Two out of three people will think you sounded like that guy. But seriously, this guy is making threats against his dog for licking other dogs' penises while he's out in the park.
I mean,
or
who can
whatever.
blame him? I mean, who wants to watch that?
Rule 34. There's plenty of people who would enjoy watching that.
Wow.
As long as it's consensual dog-on-dog penis licking. What's the problem?
No, this guy is an idiot. Does he genuinely believe that his dog is gay?
Oh, I think he protests a little bit too much.
He's just trying to explain why he's watching him so intently.
Is he smearing peanut butter on other dogs'
No,
penises?
I was gonna say, I bet that's what he's doing. I bet he's smearing peanut butter all over his testicles.
What?
And he's like, you know what? You
So
can only.
He feels like he's being cheated on.
He's jealous. Yeah.
Can we say allegedly here? Just because
Allegedly.
We're not in the court or anything. Jeff's not here.
I don't know that this if this is true.
Jeff Grime in the chat room says, "Don't say that."
Duly noted.
I actually just made that up.
Jeff Graham allegedly says.
Exactly. I do have to say, my favorite part about this story is that the Metro in the UK picked up this story, and I'm so totally not kidding here. When they published the picture, because his status update where he threatened his dog for being gay, he posted a picture of his dog Derek. The Metro published it, but they put a bar over the dog's eyes to protect Derek, to protect Derek's identity.
To protect the identity of the innocent, non-consensual.
No,
Wait,
no, it's
where's
consensual.
were the dog's genitalia in
No. It's just the dog's face, and they blacked it out so you couldn't identify
I
him.
thought maybe it was one of those coy, over the shoulder looks from the dog where you can see his ass and his
You know,
balls hanging
but I mean, this is a really serious issue because I mean, Derek is 3 years old, but then so he's a minor, but that's 21 years in dog years, so he's also kind of an adult, and you could publish that picture.
Yeah, but I mean, he can't vocalize his consent. So
That's true.
In all technicality,
Have you seen those come hither eyes though?
No, because they
you mean
blacked
those-
out.
So are you telling me that mute people can't give consent?
can they
Yeah.
do this or this?
That's discrimination.
Dogs can't sign
But they can show appreciation.
Wag their tail.
by licking your testicles when you cover them with peanut butter.
Why are you
Whoa.
pointing at me here?
That's a decision that they can make whether they want the peanut butter or not.
I actually also just wanted to know who the hell names their dog Derek.
British people.
Fucking BNP, man.
Freaking nationalist.
This gives a new meaning to the dog's bollocks.
Our apologies to all our British listeners.
All one of them.
We have highly misrepresented you all.
Well, not
do-
all of them.
Before we move on, I did want to just read a little bit more from their party platform, just to emphasize how crazy these people are. And if you're a listener in the UK, please write to us and tell us how awful these people are. I'm assuming that my impression is correct. God@atheistairwaves.com. So this is from their website about their stance on marriage equality. They say homosexual marriage is part of the sexual Bolshevik social agenda, operating within a destabilization template to degenerate society. It is particularly aimed at majority ethnic European countries to lower their birth rate. They think that marriage equality is designed to stop European people from procreating.
Wow.
Right. Because if you're a straight person, gay sex is so great that you just, you just give it up.
I don't know. It seems like gay people could do both if they wanted to have kids. So I don't think it would really be taking away from the birth rate.
You would never make it in the Nationalist Party.
Yeah. You already have that strike against you, man.
So let's bring it back to this side of the planet with crazy people.
Apparently, there's an Indiana woman who has taken the phrase "Jesus take the wheel" a little too literally. A man named Anthony Oliveri was riding his motorcycle through Fort Wayne, Indiana, and a woman, Predona Hill, pretty much let her co-pilot God take over when, we already know that God's a really, really horrible co-pilot, so,
But literally, she said God started talking to her, right?
Yeah, she did. So she let go of her steering wheel and ran over Oliveri on his motorcycle, and not just ran over the bike. She ran over Oliveri himself.
Like his face, right?
Yes, his face, because there's a point where he says, "I saw the wheel coming at my face, and I thought, this is the day I'm going to die." So Oliveri said, "I didn't quite know what was going on for a split second. As I grabbed the handlebars as the bike is losing control, and I look back around my left shoulder, all I see is her tire in the left bumper getting ready to run my face over." She claims that she was driving, and out of nowhere, God told her that he would take it from there, and she let go of the wheel and let him take it.
God really hates this guy.
He's a prick, man.
God is a douchebag.
Have y'all ever played Mass Effect?
Yes.
The harbinger that's like assuming direct control. That was the first thing I thought of when I read the article. We're all nerds, Jay.
I'm not in on that one, sorry.
Everyone involved in this story, though, is completely crazy. So the woman, obviously, God told me to trust him and let go of the wheel, and I did, and I ran over this guy. Okay, that's crazy.
Yep.
But then the guy is saying, I saw this happening, and I was like, well, if God wants me to die today, that's okay. What?
And then the nurses in the hospital are crazy as shit too, because the bruises on his back look like angel wings.
No, that's her fiance.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
is
his,
that who
that
that
was
is?
his
I thought it was
fiance
the
that said
nurse.
that.
So I want to read her quote because she's batty too. She says, when Anthony came into the emergency room, the bruise on the top of his back was shaped like a heart. Oh. When we got him up to his room, his bruise on his back and even now is shaped like angel wings. Even the nurses said that. His guardian angel was watching over him, and she gave him her wings. Dude, if you actually have a guardian angel, tell that asshole, maybe just don't let them run me over.
Yeah.
Maybe you could make the car go around me instead of running me over.
That guardian angel was slacking that
Right.
day
It's like,
pretty
oh,
severely.
Damn, I was distracted.
Looked away for 1 second.
I
What would
know.
you do?
I had peanut butter on my balls, and I had this dog, Derek. And the next thing I know, this crazy woman.
Interspecies angel porn? Is that where we're at now?
Oh, damn.
That is a great show title. Okay.
Luckily, Hill is facing charges including leaving the scene of a crime and criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon.
But I mean, take it to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court will tell you, if you firmly believe that Jesus is your co-pilot, then we need to charge Jesus.
And Hill is going to be able to take away your birth control.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Jacob was saying that she may not be a Christian. She may actually be an atheist who just came up with the crazy excuse to get out of trouble.
Jacob in the chat room. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the lesson we can learn from this, guys?
Well, I just wanted to
Keep
say,
your hands on the fucking steering wheel?
No, stay the fuck out of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
That too. Why would you want to go to Indiana in the first place?
I do want to echo what Jacob in the chat room just said, because that was what was going through my head. I'm like, this woman was texting or calling someone, and she's like, how do I get out of this? This is a bullshit excuse, right?
She probably has one of those God is my co-pilot stickers on her car to begin with.
No, I'm saying this is all
Right, it's like insurance. It's like, oh, I have the bumper sticker, duh.
I mean, it's totally there. It's like she's got a blow-up doll that looks like God in order to get through the carpool lane.
Wow. Blow up doll that looks like God.
You'd be surprised what they sell.
Do we have some repressed Catholic fantasies coming out here, Susan?
Is it an anatomically
never-
correct blow up doll of God? That's what I want to know.
You are never going to find out. He is staying in my room.
Wow. All right. So all kinds of confessions on the show tonight.
This is where her beard fetish comes from.
Oh man.
Oh god. Okay, let's
love
move
you,
on.
honey.
I'm not touching that one.
She will.
Yes, I will.
Only if it's Harry. Okay, so you okay there?
I just got that.
All right. So evidently, there's a poll that basically says
On the God doll. Sorry. It's a study, not a poll. But
okay,
go
excuse
ahead.
me. It's a study that says what we all pretty much could extrapolate ourselves is kids that are exposed to religion have more difficulty figuring out fact from fiction. It might have something to do with the fact that you're telling them fairy tales, and no, this one's real.
Right.
Yeah, no. There was a talking snake and burning bushes and shit like that. I don't know. Well, I guess we can
And
all
there
burn
was
a bush. But.
there was totally a giant named Goliath that David killed with a slingshot, and a man lived in the belly of a whale.
And
Totally
angels
feasible.
raped women and had giants for children. People walked on water, and if you believe enough, you can move mountains. That's totally all true. It's no wonder these kids have a tough time telling reality from fiction.
Yeah.
When you're telling them nonsense like this is true. I think that even more. I'm wondering how much of it, because obviously the opposite is true, that secular children have an easier time telling truth from reality. They basically gave these kids 3 different stories. They gave them a really obviously reality-based story and said, is that true or false? And they mostly said true. All children said mostly true. Then they gave them a religious-based story, and the religious kids were like, oh yeah, that's true, and the secular kids were like, that's not true. And then they gave them like, a Spider-Man story, fantastic fantasy story that couldn't possibly be real.
A sword that protects you all the time.
Right. Like that, yeah. Right. So, and the religious kids still had trouble determining whether that was real or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, and these are the same sorts of kids that their parents have to make sure that they tell them, no, Harry Potter is evil, so you're not allowed to read it. Or, my ex-sister-in-law had to tell her son when they were reading Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, that book series, she actually had to say, now, you remember that this isn't real, right? You remember that this is fake and that this is not the one true God. And I'm sitting here what are you telling this kid?
Makes sense why religious people get so upset about things like Harry Potter. It's because they can't tell that it's not real.
That does make sense. But at the same time, on the flip side of this, why is it that, a lot of these, I'm assuming some of these kids that are raised in secular households, are they not told about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and stuff like that? What's the difference there? If they can differentiate.
That's a great point.
And that was actually something I was thinking about is, I've always kind of been like, if I had kids, thankfully, hopefully, whatever. No. It's like, would I or would I not actually, tell them about Santa? And it's like, I after reading this article, I don't think I will.
I'll tell you what we do in my household. Everyone drink.
You make everyone drink in your house?
Especially the kids, because it makes bedtime so much easier on Dad. We tell them we talk about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and everything, but in a way that makes it clear that it's obviously not true. That it's just like a fun story we're telling. It's another fiction story that we're telling. And it's just a fun way to celebrate losing a tooth.
So your kids know that Santa Claus is not real and all this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they've always known that?
They've always known that.
So they're the spoiler kids at school.
Well, not yet. My son probably will be. My daughter is very, very into appropriate behavior, and she's like, it's not appropriate to tell people that Santa Claus isn't real because some parents are douchebags.
Your daughter's very mature.
She really is. She's far more mature than I am.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you've done the right thing, and you've definitely raised your kids to be skeptical and to be critical thinkers, and I think that's what a lot more secular parents do, is they do teach their kids to question a lot more things. And I know I've told the story before about how at Christmas my parents would put stuff from Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus and stuff like that, but they'd also put presents from Richard Nixon and the Easter Bunny and stuff like that. That's cool. So while we had the Santa stuff, it was never sort of like, oh, hey, look, Santa Claus is real.
You had the Santa stuffed? Is this like the blow-up doll god? You had a stuffed Santa?
It was the peanut butter.
I always felt robbed after, I had the Santa rug pulled out from under me. It's like, oh, now I don't enjoy Christmas as much or whatever. But it's not, it's kind of like, I enjoy Christmas now because, family and togetherness and all that. But in those years right after that, it was like, oh, well, now the expectation of fantasy has been ripped from it. And so now it's not as fun. And I feel like had I always just had a more reality-based thought about it, I would have enjoyed it, throughout my childhood as well. And I think that's kind of the problem, with, kids, it's like, oh, I just care about Magic Present Man, and I just want my presents. Fuck you, I'm a kid, But, and the same thing, with, theists in general, it's like, I don't care about being a good person. I care about, Magic Salvation Man, and then give me my fucking everlasting life. Fuck you, I'm a drone.
Two things about that. One is that, my sister was always appalled that we weren't teaching them that Santa Claus was a real person. It's like, oh, you're taking all the fun out of Christmas. My kids love Christmas. Whether they believe the Fat Man is real or not does not play into whether they enjoy Christmas or not. They enjoy it just as much as I did. It's awesome. The other thing is that, the first conversation I had with my daughter about whether Santa was real or not, we were talking about Santa, and we actually played this game. I played this with my kids, is it real or fake? And we'll just, when we're driving along, I'll make up a story and say, do you think that's a real story or a fake story? And I'll give them a real story, and we'll talk about why do you think that's real? Why do you think it's not real? And just to develop critical thinking skills. But so we were talking about what's the tradition of Santa and what Santa is rumored to have done, and bringing you presents and everything, and he travels to every house on the planet in one night. Do we think that's real? Do we think that's not real, and why? And she's like, I don't think that's real. And then I could see like the gears turning in her head, and she's like, but if I say that, I'm gonna get fewer presents. And so she turned to me and she's like, actually, Dad, I think he is real.
Sneaky.
She's gonna be dangerous.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. That's awesome, though.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. So, Corpus Christi Atheist does meet every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. This weekend, we're at B&J's off of Airline. Visit ccatheist.com for a list of our public events. Visit southtexascor.com to connect to our sister organizations. And let's talk about some more shit.
Well, good news, everyone. Officially, people, particularly pastors, are not allowed to endorse any candidates from the pulpit anymore.
No, well, they've
Yay!
technically never been allowed
Right,
to.
Well,
They're just
Technically.
enforcing it now.
now the IRS actually has the means to enforce it.
Right. For the last 10 years, I mean, they have been flouting this
Oh,
rule
yeah.
and just doing whatever they want and saying, what are you going to do? And and the IRS has repeatedly said, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Because back in November 2012, the Freedom from Religion Foundation had sued the IRS for a failure to enforce electioneering restrictions against churches and religious organizations, since preachers were, endorsing specific candidates from the pulpit, saying, hey, vote for so-and-so because he's a great Christian.
Don't vote for the black guy.
Yeah.
And don't vote for Muslims.
So the IRS tried really, really hard to get this suit dismissed, but luckily there was U.S. District Judge Lynn Adelman. She said nope, and the Freedom from Religion Foundation was allowed to move forward with the suit. So they came to a settlement with the IRS.
So after they couldn't make it go away magically, the IRS was
Yeah.
like, okay, what do we
Okay,
do?
fine. So they have now proven to the foundation's satisfaction that they actually have the means to enforce the anti-electioneering provisions. But the thing is that this is just in time for Liberty Council, which is one of those right-wing liberty patriot family.
It says liberty in it, so you know that they're just...
Yeah, they're right-wing bullcrap sort of thing.
No, I don't.
Now you do.
That's because Jay doesn't know things, but go ahead.
We've had this discussion. They are actually distributing over 150,000 DVDs to pastors around the country.
The
country.
No, actually, I like that.
It's
The culture. We should just start calling it that from now on.
You just coined a new term. High five.
And these DVDs are encouraging them to, address biblical and moral issues from the pulpit. And, it's just in time for the midterm elections and everything.
But this is exactly what my reaction was. After I finished high-fiving and doing my victory lap around my house, it occurred to me that this is super easy to get around. And that's what Liberty Council is doing, is they're teaching already priests how to get around this. I mean, all you have to do is, instead of saying vote for Romney, you just say don't vote for liberals because they kill babies. And then it's the same effect. So I don't know what the practical... I'm sure there are people who are going to be caught up in this because there are a lot of dumbasses.
Well, is there not a moratorium on some shit right now anyway, so they can't enforce it really?
Yeah, so there's a moratorium on investigating non-profits because of the IRS quote-unquote scandal, which is a non-scandal because there's no, they were investigating, the right wing wants to say that the IRS was unfairly targeting tea-bagger organizations. Meanwhile, you can look at it and they were absolutely targeting extremist left-wing organizations as well. So it's not a real thing, but it is going to stop them from investigating these people.
It's as much of a scandal as Benghazi really is.
Right, exactly.
Like it's just the dead horse that they want to beat until the next thing comes
Jesus.
around.
First it's the peanut butter, then it's God. Now you're beating dead horses.
You are a kinky woman.
There is a lot that you didn't know about me until this evening, isn't there?
Where is
Sorry, Mom.
What is the address to your blog? Inquiring minds want to know.
Ferris is a douchebag.tumblr.com. I'm going to go make that right now, actually.
Honestly, please do. That would be awesome. I would love to have that.
So we can beat up on Ferris on Tumblr?
I would post stuff about myself on that.
Beat up. I said up. Beat up.
So
Go listen to the damn the recording.
Here's the thing, though. I honestly don't even care if they endorse people from the pulpit or not. Just freaking tax them. They're businesses. Tax them. Let them do whatever they want politically, and make them pay taxes.
I totally agree.
I don't know. Every time I read one of these institutionalized theocracy, articles, I always have to remind myself that one day the Muslims will start doing it in noticeable numbers, and maybe the Christian, privileged crowd will actually be like, oh shit, we shouldn't do that either. Hopefully, maybe they should.
No, they're just gonna cry. They're just gonna cry religious persecution once any other religion does it.
Are they going to stop crying religious persecution?
Good
That's
point.
what they do.
Yeah, no, you've got a really good point, actually. Anyway.
All right, let's move on to television. Increasingly, CNBC is just becoming this ridiculous news outlet. I don't know whether it's always been that way, but I've never been a routine viewer of CNBC, but it seems like they had more credibility back in the day than they do now. This week, they brought on a, quote, climate expert, who, of course, is not a climate scientist. He's a physicist. Nope. He has not published any works in the field of climate science. On top of that, he is the chairman of the Marshall Institute, which takes money from Exxon and the Koch brothers.
I think it's between 1998 and 2011, they've taken somewhere in the range of 150 million?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So they were on the take from Exxon until Exxon signed a pledge saying they were no longer going to give money to denier organizations because it's super douchey to do that. And then they released documents show that they started getting money from the Koch brothers after that happened. So you want to say something, Jay? Dr. William Happer was on and was pretty much going unquestioned on the show with his climate change denying bull crap until one of the hosts finally decided to call him out. I'm going to play a clip of the interview real quick so you can hear this douchebag in action. Jesus Christ.
I have some issues with all of this, obviously, because you don't believe in climate change at all. You made a comment.
Just a minute. I believe in climate change. Shut up.
Sir, you made a comment back in 2009 comparing climate change to the Holocaust. And my question is, are you suggesting when you made that comment that climatologists and climate scientists are the equivalent of Hitler and Nazis? I mean, that's what it seems like you were trying to say.
You know, I get called a denier, and anyone who objects to all of the hype gets called a denier. That's supposed to make me a Holocaust denier. I'm getting tired of that. And the comment I made was the demonization of carbon dioxide is just like the demonization of the poor Jews under Hitler. Carbon dioxide is actually a benefit to the world, and so were the Jews.
They were because
tense.
If he were to say what he was actually thinking,
right.
Then
So, does no one else find the irony in the fact that Hitler gassed the Jews and he's talking about?
I don't know whether that crossed my mind.
Well, it's actually global warming would actually improve the economies of a few countries.
Like what countries and why?
Ireland, because they would be able to grow more crops that would.
That's actually not true, though, because so this is what this guy, this Dr. William Happer, was talking about. Was that
potatoes like to be cold?
I was going to say I'd really hope that they would have success with that eventually.
And we apologize to our Irish listeners.
My hair may be red, but I'm really not Irish.
The beard's red, though. That's real.
Yeah. Okay. So. This guy's point was that carbon dioxide is yummy and it's what plants crave. because it is true to a certain extent that, especially in a greenhouse, if you inject more carbon dioxide into that environment, it increases plant growth because it's a controlled environment and plants do crave carbon dioxide. It's what they breathe in.
Not electrolytes?
Not electrolytes.
That too, though.
However, if you talk to actual climate scientists, what you'll find out is that as the CO2 increases, the temperature increases, which decreases soil
viability.
Stuffs.
No. It decreased
Moisture.
Thank you. It decreases moisture in the soil. And you know what plants need even more than carbon dioxide?
Electrolytes.
Water. And so that makes so.
Well, because I had read it was like an overall negative for anything near the equator, but as far as like Canada and the ones that are more frozen most of the time,
because it would increase their growing season.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you talk to actual climate scientists, between 20 and 30% of all species on the planet will be at risk for extinction if the temperature increases by 1.5 to 2.5 Celsius.
I mean, overall, it would be a negative effect for the whole world, but for a few economies, it could potentially.
So we're willing to sacrifice 20 to 30%.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So basically,
you agree with me, right, Chad?
No,
you agree?
No, we're not willing to sacrifice 20 to 30%.
Oh shit!
Whoa! I think we've broken some new ground with that. So I mean, basically, you're an Irish supremacist.
I'd say that'd be accurate. Yeah.
Getting out of this.
I'm gonna bring you some potatoes next week. Is that cool?
Sounds fine.
Okay.
I like that.
Anyway, yeah, but I would really be able to take this guy a little more seriously if he wasn't a physics professor.
He's a science dude. I can come on, give him some credit.
No.
Come on, give him some credit.
No.
I'm just fucking with you.
Okay. you can see me and Christian both going.
No, wait.
Chat room. Get the
pitchforks.
Get the pitchforks
Polish them
out
up.
Now.
No, but I mean, you could make the same criticism of like Bill Nye, for example, because he's a mechanical engineer, which is not the kind of scientist that he's not the kind of science, right? The kind of science that he promotes. However, that doesn't really matter because he's not
he's a science dude.
He's certainly more knowledgeable than good old Kev.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. I hate this douchebag. And the other thing is like, shut up. Who says that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the greatest part. It's like, no, I do believe in climate change. Shut up.
What the hell was that?
You're backed into a you're backed into a corner when you have to resort to telling the other person, shut up. It's awesome.
That was great.
I do really, really love how Andrew Sorkin, the one who was saying, now hold on a minute, how you made these statements about, the Holocaust and Jews and everything. He actually asks the dude, how much money did you take from Exxon? Right. Like he calls him out on it.
But he denied it.
Yeah, and then he did the worst straw man ever.
Oh yeah, he's like, well, we also do
missile defense.
Yeah, missile defense.
Innocent lives like yesterday.
And it's like, okay, well, that has nothing to do with the topic at hand, bro.
All right, let's move on.
So we can talk about some Jews
Florida.
now?
Yes, we can.
Why do I always get the Jew stories?
You picked the Jew stories.
It was leftover. I gave you all time.
Nope.
There
were other stories.
I gave
picked
you
last.
Anyway.
We're at the source now that I have nothing to know about. So
okay, well, let me give you a little backstory. This is out of Miami Beach, Florida, and this is apparently a story that's been going on for a little while that we didn't cover. There's this thing called an Eruv that the Jews are. Okay, so
Orthodox Jews.
Orthodox Jews, yeah, the ones with the dreadlocks on their faces and shit. I don't know what they call them. Earlocks. Excuse me, not dreadlocks.
That's very culturally sensitive. Go ahead.
Earlocks.
Does that surprise you with Jay? I mean, come on.
Dreadlock sideburns.
So on their Sabbath, they're not allowed to leave the house or their property.
They're allowed to leave their property. They're not allowed to carry things or use tools.
Yeah, they're not allowed to do any work outside the property, right?
Okay, so they can't do stuff. They can't
or
be productive.
on the property.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
They can't turn on lights or anything and stuff
or
like that.
they have, they're really freaking ridiculous. They have these machines that will enable them to, they're not allowed to dial a phone on the Sabbath. They have these things that they put a stick in the hole and it stops it from dialing so that it's technically okay to do.
It's like
this is how crazy these people are. Go ahead and tell us this craziness.
So to get around this, they have decided to start increasing their property by string around the city.
They're incorporating parts of the city.
Yeah, well, this is mine, and they're running across telephone poles, and they're just reclaiming the city under their property.
It's awesome because this goes way, way back where they used to wall in their cities in order to create an entire city where it was private because there's a wall. And so the thinking that the loophole they've created here is that a piece of string that encloses a large area is a wall with a lot of doors and windows in it. It's just,
that is a really large loophole.
Right? I mean,
humongous.
Right. I mean, that's a ridiculous. I mean, basically what they said is, what is a wall that is all door?
Like, what's really a wall, man?
I want
What's
whatever
the
they're
least-
smoking.
What's
man.
the least amount of material we can make a wall out of?
I'm not saying.
Go for it. I
No.
want to know. I want to
No.
know it now.
Now I'm really curious
Come
too.
on.
We're gonna stop the show
Let it
until
out.
you say it.
Let it out. Let
It
it
was
out.
like a J level joke.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
We can edit if we need
Nope.
to.
Nope.
We can edit that
I'm
shit
out.
out.
I'm out.
I'm in. I'm
doing
so.
it.
I'm in.
Tell me
doing it.
later.
I'll tell you later. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Post-show.
Joshua B in the chat room says, "Stick it in a hole."
This is why I'm friends with you people.
All right.
Was that a reference to something?
So no.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
there was to the phone
phone.
dialing
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's
but-
all.
Okay.
Our chat room is just wrong. That's all.
Good. I like that.
So the Freedom from Religion Foundation has written into Miami Beach and said, "Hey,
You're an idiot.
yeah, you're
You're all
using
idiots.
you're using city resources to promote a religion."
Oh, what is the city doing specifically?
Well, they've actually spent money stringing this stuff up.
Oh, the city's been putting the string up. Oh,
And they've also been allowing them to use utility poles and everything else. So public
Well,
resources.
oh, you can't put a piece of string on them. You can put a poster on them.
No, not in this town.
Oh,
You
no,
can't.
they can't. Oh.
You will get a huge fine if you do that in this town. So the attorney for the Miami Beach said, "Oh, we're just providing a service to help these people go about their normal business."
Part of our community. Blah blah blah. I liked their response.
I love
which
it too.
which was basically, how would you react if Muslims did this in order to to stay within Sharia law?
Right. And people would go batshit.
Yeah, it would be on the news. People would be deport these mother. No, yeah, but anyway.
Yeah. I want to read like a big part of the Freedom from Religion Foundation's letter back to the attorney because
And now for Christian's monologue.
Andrew Seidel is a badass. I love this guy. Someone tell him that I have a man crush on him.
I'll be sure. I'll be sure to find a way to do that.
So he says there is nothing secular about helping a religious sect comply with religious law. What do you think the reaction would be if Miami Beach endorsed and even helped devout Muslims rope off an area in which to adhere to a Sharia law? Orthodox Jews suffer no government-imposed burden on their religion. The Sabbath prohibitions on labor are imposed by their own religion. If they do not wish to adhere to those rules, the solution is to renounce Orthodox Judaism, not designate public and private property that they do not own as belonging to that sect. This is as absurd as a Catholic deciding to fast for Lent and then claiming the government has a responsibility to feed him. The government cannot favor one religion by alleviating its self-imposed burdens or allowing it to impose that religion over wide swaths of public and private property. This is not freedom of religion. It is the imposition of religion. And given some of the locals who have claimed that Jews in this specific park, Pine Tree Park in Miami Beach, that they've been told this is a Jewish park now, you need to GTFO. This is the atmosphere that they're creating in this town, and that's not okay.
Because it's within the string
Right.
wall.
They have built a wall of string around it, so it's mine.
Somebody should start hanging stuff off the string.
I'm just saying. So here's one of the things that I was thinking about. It's like I would just wait till the Sabbath, and then wait till everyone's carrying stuff around the park, and then cut it
String down.
Because seriously, they're like freaking out inside the Orthodox Judaism. They're freaking out. They're like, what happens if the string comes down while you're all carrying stuff in here and you don't know about it? God's gonna freaking smite you.
I hope he does.
Let's take a trip to Miami Beach.
That can be our next volunteer project.
I've got a pole saw.
Hey, we can all go to Miami. Sounds like a good deal.
If anybody interested in going, just let us know. Write to us to God@atheistairwaves.com, and we'll be sure to put your name on the list.
And we expect you to pay for the gas.
Right.
That's fine.
Here's some more craziness, though. So first, there's an Eruv in Washington, D.C. that includes the White House.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Is that so like Jewish congressmen can like go to work?
No, I think it's probably just so that Jewish
Tourists
can go visit the White House and carry their babies with them.
Hold on, you know congressmen don't want to work, right?
Right.
They wouldn't do that.
They're drunk. So
Right, take that string down. I don't want to go to work on the Sabbath.
Alcoholico in the chat room actually says, burn the string. But I think we might burn down the rest of Miami Beach if we're not too careful.
That could be an improvement for Florida, though.
I'm saying, what's wrong with this?
Good point.
No objections here.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the other thing. There's a hotline, a national hotline that you as a Jew, an Orthodox Jew, you can call it to make sure that the Erud is up. And it's okay for you to carry things.
How do you dial the fucking number?
I already told you, stick in the hole.
I'm a fan of putting the stick in
Well,
the
what
hole.
if you're walking around with your cell phone, though? Then how you...
Dude, these are the problems these are the self-inflicted
Jew world problems, not first world problems. First world problems.
See, but you'd figure that this hotline would actually be also like a tip line, sort of like a Crime Stoppers. You'd be able to report people for this person went outside the room.
See that Che Guerrero motherfucker? He's burning down our string.
Or Rabbi Rosenberg just walked under the string. What are we gonna do about this? God, that was fucking horrible. I'm sorry.
So they're also, Orthodox Jews are also really, really concerned because they're like, if you get used to living in this Erud area where you can do stuff on the Sabbath that you're not supposed to do otherwise, then what happens when you travel? Are you going to forget because you're used to being able to do whatever you want?
Can you just make like a hula hoop wall and then walk around and do anything you want with a hula hoop?
Let's give them religion bubbles.
I would almost be okay with spending public dollars on giving them all hula hoops. Make them walk around with hula hoops.
Hang the hula hoops from the little curls.
It's so insensitive. I love you guys.
I know.
I love it. We're talking about Jews. You know I'm going to love it.
Moving on.
Do we want to do announcements?
One thing I want to just mention before we move on. If your religious rules are this fucking stupid, where you can solve your problem by surrounding yourself with string, the solution is really, really obvious.
And even more simple.
Right.
Shoot yourself?
Deconvert or convert to something else. I mean, these are, like Andrew Seidel, my boy, says, these are self-imposed rules. You don't have to do it.
We should get Andrew Seidel to have a guest spot on our show. We'll just talk about
I'll
news
see what
stories.
I can do.
Just so that I can,
Fanboy.
tell him. Yeah,
suck him
fanboy.
off.
I'm a big Andrew Seidel fanboy.
I'd kind of like to know though.
Whoa!
Wow.
That escalated quickly.
Wow. I'd kind of like to know how many missed opportunities for like the cat's cradle do you think Miami Beach has had with all that string that's been wasted?
What?
The little...
The cat's cradle. Yeah, they're
With the
Jacob's
hands,
ladder.
I don't think we currently have a string shortage. I think we're good. I think we could.
I got plenty of
here,
rope. If you want to make some cat's cradles, I can get you
Miami
some
Beach,
string.
though. Miami Beach, they might be really, really hurting for that. I don't know. Anyway.
Entertainment quality there is very low.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, if you can't even dial a phone, maybe cat's cradle would be like.
Can you lift string?
Does that count as work?
In the Erud, you can.
Okay.
And especially if it's for entertainment and not work, then you're totally good. All right, so let's move on. YouGov recently conducted a survey of Americans, and the results are interesting. My initial reaction to this was a little different than what my reaction became after I processed it for a little while. But just to sum up the findings, Christians' political ideas don't match up well with what they think Jesus would do or support. Does anyone here find that surprising?
No.
So they're unchristlike Christians.
Well, like any good Christian, they pick and choose what they want to, what's convenient and what's not.
I love how they did this survey, though, because so first they asked people 7 questions about how they felt about issues about like gay marriage, abortion.
Gay abortion.
It can happen.
It can happen.
I'm not.
Abort all the gays.
Yeah.
Was it the gay getting an abortion or the baby that's gay that's being aborted?
I don't know.
I don't think they've isolated that gene yet.
All right. So gay marriage, abortion, the death penalty, environmental stuff, all that stuff. Then after they asked them all those questions, they asked them again. Only this time they said, "What do you think Jesus's position on that would be?"
I love how they did that too. They asked them their own opinion, and they're like, "So now let's go through all those again and
talk about Jesus."
Yeah. Oh, so they went through all the questions for you, and then okay. Then.
Yeah, they put them in between a rock and a hard place. It was good. I like it.
They probably couldn't remember what they said for them. I don't know. Anyway. So I thought we'd play a game because I know you guys all looked at. Did anyone look at the raw data?
I didn't even read the article.
Okay, awesome.
I took a glance at it.
Did you? Okay, so maybe
I'm a data nerd, so
okay.
Yeah.
So Susan,
Yes.
Did you look at the raw data at all? The actual survey file?
Yeah. I have to open it again in order
No,
to
don't
refresh
open it
my
again.
memory.
Don't open it again.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna play who are the bigger hypocrites.
Oh, I didn't look that closely.
Okay, good. You won't ruin the game then. So they broke it down by Protestants, Catholics, atheists and agnostics, and other religions. So I just pulled data from Protestants and Catholics, and we're going to play who's the bigger hypocrites.
Ooh.
That's a good game. I like this.
So 41% of Catholics and 31% of Protestants said they supported legal abortion. Much fewer said that they thought Jesus would share their opinion. Which group had the bigger gap between their position and Jesus's position? Catholics or Protestants?
Protestants.
Break the tie.
Protestants.
Okay, so we got 2 for Protestants, 1 for Catholics. It's Catholics.
Oh.
They had a margin of 23% between their position and what they thought Jesus's position would be versus 18% for Protestants. Wow. So 18% of Catholics thought that Jesus would support legal abortion, and 13% of Protestants.
It's weird that they think that Jesus would. Like, there's 13% of them that think Jesus would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Although I can make the argument.
13% of them who said that they didn't support.
No, that Jesus.
13% of them who said that they didn't support
think
that Jesus would have said otherwise.
Right. So gay marriage. 44% of Catholics and 31% of Protestants said they supported marriage equality. Far fewer in both groups thought Jesus would be down with that. Susan, which are the biggest hypocrites? Protestants or Catholics?
Protestants.
I'm going to go with Protestants again.
Catholics.
Reb's right again.
God damn
Catholics.
it.
Catholics are super hypocritical.
I know my Catholics.
I'm really surprised at that
this,
one, actually.
This one was actually really close, though. It was only a 1% gap between Protestants and Catholics on this one. So
we were almost right.
Yeah. But that's just the first loser, though.
Good point.
Story of my life.
Story of my life.
Reb's winning 2 for 2.
2-0, yeah.
You guys are 0-2.
What is this, like best of 7?
No, I'm not going to do all of them. I think maybe 2 or 3 more. So death penalty. This one had the widest range between what the Christians' position was and what they thought Jesus' position would be. So 66% of Catholics and 59% of Protestants say they want the state to kill alleged killers. It's not hard to imagine that maybe the dude who had been killed by the state would not want it that much.
He would object a little bit.
Reb, which one were the biggest hypocrites?
I think the Protestants are probably... No. Yeah, Protestants, yeah.
Well, I have an uninformed, stance, and I'm going to stick with that stance. So let's go with the Protestants.
2 for that?
I'm going to go with Protestants, too.
Oh, a trifecta of Protestants. You're all wrong. It's the Catholics again.
Fucking Catholics. Jesus, fuck.
There's a 38% gap for Catholics
Jesus.
between what they think is good and what they think Jesus thinks is good. It's only 19% for Protestants.
Wow.
All right.
You're going to have to insert buzzer noises.
Oh, okay, fine. Create work for me, Jay. Thanks. I totally will.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
All right, stricter gun control laws. This one is the opposite of the last one and had the narrowest gap between what they said their position was and what they thought Jesus' position would be. 55% of Catholics and 44% of Protestants support stricter gun laws. Biggest hypocrites, Jay.
Protestants.
I'm sticking with Protestants.
I'll go Catholic just so that I might win.
It'll be interesting.
We were right.
Protestants.
Finally.
By-
I knew we had to be right eventually.
This is the only issue on which either group is actually not a hypocrite. Catholics, they said that Jesus would be just as for stricter gun control laws as they are. Protestants, 1% said that he would be less for gun control laws than they are.
Well, he's going to show up with an AK, right? So.
Right. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's the Jesus
Rambo
warrior.
Jesus.
Rambo Jesus, yeah. All right, so last one. Universal health care. 55% of Catholics and 46% of Protestants think everyone should have health care. Who's the biggest hypocrite? Susan.
Protestants.
What were the stats again?
55% of Catholics and 46% of Protestants.
Catholics.
I'm going to go with Catholics on this one.
2 Catholics, 1 Protestant? Everyone's right. It was a tie.
I was like, yay! Oh.
This is actually the only topic for which they thought Jesus would be more for that than they were, and universal health care, and 2% more for each group.
By the way, we need to have a game show.
Right?
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I like it. We can do that in the future.
I like it. So before we move on, I actually want to remind y'all of some upcoming events that we have. On Tuesday, August 5th, we are going to have Candace Gorham. She is the author of Ebony Exodus. Can't even remember what the subtitle of that is right now. Why some black women are leaving? Why some black people are leaving the church,
Women.
and why you should too.
Yeah. Religion.
I was
Why
about
others
to say I
should
hadn't
too.
heard about this, but that, okay.
Yes. It's a really wonderful book. I really, really love her writing style.
It's hardcore too. The stories are hardcore.
Yeah, it's really, really good. She, and I think a lot of people might sort of have an issue with the idea of, oh, hey, I am none of these. I am not black. I am not a woman. Da, 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 da.
I am none of those.
I know. None of y'all are. But the thing is that the way that I'm approaching this is all on the basis of
Christian and I had the same
Sorry,
thought,
no.
didn't we?
I was reading the chat room. Jay Gossett 5 just says, "Wow, Jay heard of a book." Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Susan.
Anyway.
He's got a fair point.
So the way that I'm sort of approaching my reading of this book is how the idea of intersectionality and what the hell is
I feel
going
like something
on.
just bit me on the foot.
Start that over.
Go
Because that
ahead.
was really noisy and weird. And now Jay's barefoot. It's really strange.
It fucking hurts. Shut up.
That was weird. Okay, so I think a problem that a lot of people might have with reading this book is sort of, oh, I don't really have anything to do with this. I don't know what I could, sort of gain from this. But the way that I'm sort of approaching it is the idea of intersectionality and sort of, we are, even if in any other way we are a majority, we are still a religious minority. So we sort of have to understand that in our religious minority, there are still other subsects that are minorities.
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, like, I'm a white cisgender male.
Yeah.
You keep saying that, and it's like you're proud of it.
No, I'm just pointing it out. I'm just pointing it out that I'm like completely laden with privilege, and except for my atheism. And that's pretty shitty in this town in Corpus Christi, Texas. Being an atheist is kind of shitty sometimes. It gets worse. There are other minorities who have it a lot worse than I ever do, and as a humanist, I kind of want to understand what their experience is, especially because I want as many atheists in our movement as possible, and so understanding other people's experiences kind of help with that.
So it's a really, really wonderful book. Get it off of Amazon, Barnes and Noble, pretty much wherever you can. Again, it's by Candace Gorham, Ebony Exodus. We also have karaoke going on this Saturday at Barton Street out in Flower Bluff if you want to come and join us. Some of us can sing, some of us can't.
I might actually come to this one.
What?
Wow. That's the first time in a really long time.
I haven't been out to a CCA event in
ages. Yeah, you haven't even been to like meetup in like a month.
You have to stay late if you go because I can't go till my wife gets home from school, which doesn't happen until like 11 or work at 11.
I've got some things to do Saturday during the day, so if I come, it'll probably be pretty late. No, it's always late when Jay comes. He only has 20 to 30% feeling.
It was just
that
20
is-
to 30% less.
That is like we haven't made a reference to that in like 30
That's the
episodes.
second time in this episode.
Oh, I didn't hear it the first time.
No, I didn't hear it the first time.
Okay, so
I heard it.
We're going to queue up the call-in thing here. We're not going to use the phone number anymore. It just malfunctions.
sucks.
Just Skype us. That's Atheist Airwaves, all one word on Skype. I'll put it in the chat room for you guys. That way you can call us and do things.
Right.
actually
While
pretty
we
late.
wait for that, I wanted to announce that we have created a Patreon channel as an opportunity for you guys to help support our show and help improve the audio quality to limit.
There's nothing wrong with the audio quality, you shit stick.
Okay. Audio and video quality.
Video quality we can use some help for it.
So if you are interested, patreon.com/atheist airwaves. This show will always be 100% free, but we're asking to help us make it better. Even if you can afford to jam $1 in Jay's G-string every episode.
Ooh la
that will-
la.
Why are you telling everybody about my underwear? I thought this was between you and me.
No. Because we're going to have you
Nope.
dance every week that someone signs up. Jay's going to do a little dance with his G-string.
Well, they wouldn't be able to stick it in mine
promise.
because I go commando.
Okay.
So
That was more information than I ever
We'll come back to that
wanted,
post-show.
ever.
Everyone say goodbye to Reb. It's the last episode. I do want to say that, since Corpus Christi Community Radio, we told them to go fuck themselves.
And they can still go fuck themselves.
Yes, they can. For telling us that they wanted to hide all the atheist and gay content on their radio station back in December. We have poured a lot of money in, and we've gotten a lot of help from a lot of generous donors. Reb is one. Nancy and Jesse are others who have helped us.
There's been several people.
Yeah.
Josh has too.
Yeah.
Josh, yeah, Leslie. We've had a lot of people donate time, effort, and money into helping us continue this because one thing after Corpus Christi Community Radio did that, I was like, our show is going to be so much more successful than anything that those bigot appeasers ever put on the air.
Did you see that they had a post the other day?
I did. It was amazing. I was like, ooh, they're doing something.
They did a thing, but it was just like a video of, it wasn't even them.
Yeah, it wasn't them. So anyway, there's a lot of other. So starting today, none of the post shows, spottily we've put them on YouTube, or we've, Stephanie Moon's one we put on actually our feed. Only people who listen to the live version, so you can get it for free by listening to us every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Or if you donate at least $1 to us to help us make this better and to help spread our disease, we're going to start actually publishing those things privately just to those people. So if you can't do it or don't want to, that's cool too. We still love you. Thank you for listening.
Just less so.
If you do go to the Patreon and donate, you can read it there, but you actually you have the potential to get some really cool stuff.
there's some cool stuff in
that will happen on air.
Yeah, it's not just post show content.
Right. There are some other things you can get. So go check it out, patreon.com/atheist.
And none of it is very expensive. I mean, four times for $20, and you get to take a little control over the show.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that, actually.
That scares me, actually.
That's what I love about it.
That it just scares the pee-waddle out of us.
It scares Susan and makes Jay excited.
That sounds like pretty much everything in this whole entire world.
All right. So we're going to move on and talk about old Kevin Ham.
Oh, good old Kev.
This week, old Kev called for the end of our space program and the search for extraterrestrial life because the Bible says there isn't any, and even if there are, fuck them because they're all going to hell.
I hope this spurs like Neil deGrasse Tyson to like start a war on TV with Ken Ham. I would love to see the black science guy just smack Kev down.
But how do you think Carl Sagan would have responded to this? Considering he's the one who's he's the one who's yeah, exactly. He's the one who's like responsible for SETI, for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute. So, and that's what he did a lot
you
of.
You went a different direction with that than I thought you were going to.
Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson aren't going to spend a minute of time thinking about Ken Ham. None.
No, they aren't. Although,
well, I mean, not Carl Sagan.
Well, yeah, he's not going to do much of anything.
I just got a little sad. Man.
I want to just read a little bit of Kevin Ham's blog post here. He says, I do believe that there can't be other intelligent beings in outer space because it's...
You say intelligent beings?
Beings.
Intelligent beings. Oh.
In outer space because of the meaning of the gospel. You see, the Bible makes it clear that Adam's sin affected the whole universe.
Oh, the Bible. Yeah, I didn't forget about that.
Be careful when you're eating apples because it affects the entire universe, you guys.
Must have been like a sin supernova.
Like a sin quasar?
Yeah.
Like sin radiation that just wipes out things.
Sin pulsar.
So he says this means that any aliens would also be affected by Adam's sin, which seems really unfair to me because I'm like, they did nothing. But they were just sitting there minding their own alien business, hanging
out.
Right.
All of a sudden, bam, all their females get periods.
And suddenly it hurts to give birth, and like, what the hell is this crap?
All the dude aliens are missing a rib, and they're just like, this isn't making it any easier for me to blow myself. Why am I missing a rib? Wouldn't that be the only reason you'd be missing a rib?
How is Susan the one who's contemplating this possibility? Like, you could actually blow yourself more easily if you had that extra.
Even if you had the ribs missing, it would probably still be uncomfortable. I would think. I don't know.
I think.
Did you get ribs removed?
No, I'm just assuming here. I mean, and that's still quite the contortionist you'd have to be.
Is killing.
I'm just saying that I don't think it's one rib that's preventing me from blowing myself.
I mean, if I could do it, I'd try. But
don't act like you haven't already tried.
No. But I mean, if I could, I would on a regular basis. Probably. It just seems like it'd be
probably.
I don't need to date anybody. I got this down, man.
That's a theory. Okay. So he goes on to say that.
I'm sorry.
Holy crap, you guys!
You don't.
All right. So he goes on to say that because aliens are not Adam's descendants, they also can't have salvation. So one day the whole universe will be judged by fire. Okay. And there will be a new heavens and earth. God's son stepped into history to be Jesus Christ, the God-man, to be our relative and to be the perfect sacrifice for sin, the savior of mankind. Kevin Ham's God is like the weakest God I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Kevin Ham is on some really good drugs.
Something like that. Seriously. I mean, this God allegedly inspires this book to be written thousands of years ago and is now a complete slave to it. Can't change his mind. And that does not jive with me who the God of the Bible is, because that guy will turn on a freaking dime, right? I mean, God is the bad guy in the Bible, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he'll kill you on a whim. You touch the Ark of the Covenant, bam, dead.
Make fun
You're
of that
a
guy because
melting
he's
Nazi.
bald.
That was the next
You're
one.
gonna
Yeah.
maul your bear. Maul
Yeah.
you with bears.
There's no written rule that you can't mock the Elisha guy. It's just he made it up on the spot and it's like, you get mauled by bears, all 42 of you children.
I'm for this.
Sounds
I
reasonable.
know you are.
I am pro bear mauling.
Good to know.
So I was thinking, like, what is Kev going to do if God changes the deal? I mean, is he going to, write a complaint card? This wasn't
Well, but
what
see,
I was told. And I mean, like, God is just...
you reneged on this, man.
I was just saying, I'm going to play this clip because this would be God's reaction.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Right?
Did you really just pull that out of your ass? Nice.
I'm just saying, like,
But here's the flaw in old Kev's logic is if God
The only one?
created well the major flaw in old Kev's logic, if God is really the creator of the heavens and earth and the entire universe, God is the one who put the alien life and the extraterrestrial intelligence out there.
Well, at that point, they'd just be like animals. So, like, they don't have souls. They don't go to heaven.
No, they
Fuck
do.
them.
They do, and they're all going to hell. Because that's what the Bible says, according to Ken
It's so hard
Ham.
to nail him down.
Like I said, actually, I think it would be pretty easy because he seems like a pretty scrawny guy. So I think we could hold him down and nail
Minus
him.
that
But he
pot
looks
belly.
like a monkey, so he's probably really strong.
Surprising strength. No, but I mean, if God was the one to put them there, wouldn't he sort of look upon them favorably and go, "Hey, you never actually had anybody reach out to you and teach you the gospel."
Let me put on my Ken Ham hat for a second.
Oh shit.
No.
No. His statement kind of reminded me of of the Amish, where it's just like, I have chosen this particular time in human scientific development where I just want to stop. I don't want any more developments. Just this, because I know this is where it's supposed to end at, and this is here. That's it. I draw the line. No more scientific discoveries.
But I also think extraterrestrials would probably laugh at Ken Ham's idea of heaven and hell.
Going back to what you just said, Reb, I mean, God essentially did that with the Tower of Babel, right? He's like, there's no specific rule against building this tower so high, but fuck you because I feel like it. That's too much. You're all screwed.
Didn't he say the same thing to Mary? Fuck you because I feel like it.
That was good. That was good. I liked that one.
Thank you.
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly.
Sorry, I had to whip. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, so what do we want to cover? We've got time for like one, maybe two more stories.
Do we want to cover the craziness that is pro-life?
Sure, yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay. So,
do you know how to pronounce her name?
Hellweg?
Nope.
Hellweggy?
Nope.
Hellweggy?
Nope.
Let me see. Let me give it a shot.
Okay, you give
Is
it a
this
shot.
some
Jay.
Russian thing? Because you're in Russia.
Spell it. Spell it.
Hellwege.
Helve?
Oh, so close.
Helveg?
Helvega.
Helvega? Oh, wow. Okay. So you would think that if your employer required you to do something that you morally disagreed with, that you really wouldn't even want to bother applying for a position with them, right? I mean, that would sort of just make sense.
I'm applying for everything right now. So
Sweet, good.
USA jobs, man.
Yeah. Apparently for pro-life, this logic does not ever enter your brain, and you can pretty much scream religious persecution regardless. So,
religious persecution regardless.
You're not pro-life.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought. Okay.
Wait, I thought he was.
Well,
He's
I am for living things.
He's not anti-choice.
Yes.
There we go.
He's for not needing to kill things.
Yes.
Unlike the both of y'all. Anyway, so Sarah Helvega, she applied for a job at the Tampa Family Health Centers last year, and since they're a Title X, Title 10. Okay. X. They this clinic provides things like birth control, family planning, contraception, things of that nature. So on her resume, she mentioned that she was affiliated with this organization called American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. And yes, that is really as bad as it sounds. So Chad Lindsay, the one who was interviewing her, kind of asked her, hey, is your affiliation with this going to, interfere with you doing part of your job? The whole prescribing birth control. And she was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to prescribe anybody birth control because I essentially believe that it's causing abortions, which A, just goes to show what the hell did she learn in nursing school that she thinks that birth control causes an abortion, and B, she is just in the complete wrong, like she was applying at the entirely wrong place if she's...
Right. I mean, it's crazy. So first of all, these are not abortifacients. They do not cause abortions.
Nope.
I don't care how much your firmly held religious beliefs make you think they cause abortions. They do not.
I think we covered this before.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's Hobby Lobby. This is
no.
different.
I'm just saying this
is different.
This specific issue with
people
abortifacient thing.
Religious people fail to understand what abortifacients are.
Yeah, they just don't understand the science behind any sort of reproductive
Can we send them to a
processes.
class?
No, we can't because we don't live in a dictatorship. The fucking it's a fucking cat.
Goddamn cat! I was about to fucking start beating someone's ass.
That was crazy.
Anyway.
I think it scared the cat too.
It sounded like some fucking dude was like coming in the
Breaking
door.
in,
I was just like, oh shit.
Here we go.
I'm hiding behind Susan.
The Bay Area Fellowship people are here to take their parking lot back from us.
Did they like smash my window or something?
Probably.
Yeah, they couldn't break a car any more than it already is.
So seriously, it's like these people are taking transubstantiation to like the next level. Like, not only do they believe you can turn wine into blood, but they believe that you can turn birth control pills into magic abortion buttons or whatever.
You know, if that actually were true, the abortion rate, like people actually going to doctors for abortions, would be so much lower.
Right.
An abortion button? I like this idea. Let's make it.
Is that like the Staples Easy button?
Right.
Yes.
Or is that the easy button what you hit that leads to the abortion button?
I was about to say that's really unfortunate, but yes, that's what I was thinking too.
So
our own Amanda Stevens actually made a comment this week, which I thought was really great, and so I wanted to read it. She said, "Have you noticed that when the Hobby Lobby ruling came down, they said don't like it, don't work here, but apparently refusing to do a job because of your religious beliefs compels people to hire you?" That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And I mean, literally what they're saying is that you can, if we go by what they're saying, that you can go to an abortion clinic and force them to hire you to do abortions that you won't do because it is against your religious beliefs. What kind of sense does that make?
None.
I mean, they want to be hired to do jobs that they won't do.
It'd be like a Muslim going into a meat factory with a bunch of pigs and saying, I won't touch them,
This
but
isn't
you're going to pay me.
Yeah. You have to pay me. I'm not going to do anything, but you have to pay me.
It's like extortion.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Let's do it.
But I think she's actually now suing the health centers on the basis of, hey, you're not going to hire me because this is religious discrimination, when she doesn't realize that she was essentially refusing to do part of the job. So
I love
this is going to get thrown out so quickly.
It has to, or I'm going to invent the most ridiculous religion and I'm going to do nothing and get paid a lot to do it. Joshua B. in the chat room said something that I just thought was hilarious. He was talking about this woman praying the baby away.
Well, I think it's one of those, like, for the pregnancy crisis centers, like Pregnant We Can Help. that's where it came in, the pray the baby away.
Maybe we can exorcise the demon that is within them.
By making
the parasite.
By making it inhale smoke for 10 hours.
Well, technically, if you kill the mother, you'd also kill the baby, right? So
I'm for this idea.
You just want fewer people.
You can send your hate mail to god@atheistairwaves.com. Please address it to Jay, and I'll pass it along to him.
You know, what's funny is you didn't pass any of the hate mail along to me.
I passed some of it along
Not
to you.
directly. I didn't get...
I copied pasted some stuff to you.
Like, if
Not
you're
much.
if you guys are gonna write hate mail to god@atheistairwaves.com, CC me.
What's your email?
Me too.
What's your email address, Jay?
DEDMANCHAN@gmail.com.
And sign him up for ridiculous Catholic charities.
He's probably signed up for most of the porns already. It won't do any good.
No.
Oh, no, that's not my porn email.
Sign him up for Mormons. Sign him up for Mormons.
Ooh, Mormon porn? Is it like they're showing their ankles?
Mormon porn.
All right, let's shut this thing down.
All right, so there's this thing I'm supposed to read, and we're going to edit this part out because I don't have it in front of me. Thank you for listening to Atheist Airwaves on Secular FM Radio. We're sponsored by Corpus Christi Atheists and the South Texas Coalition of Reason. If you would like to compliment, complain, send hate mail, send
I've had enough hate
fire
mail,
bombs.
but feel free to send more. But
You can send me the hate mail this week, considering all the really fucking horrible things that I've said.
I really want the hate mail.
Right.
I kind of want some too.
I want the hate to flow through me. Anyway, it's god@atheistairwaves.com. Thanks to... Who's our new outro music person?
No, same outro music. It's still Tombstone to Dead Man. We haven't gotten permission for the new one, so we gotta wait.
Oh, I thought we were going to do the necrophilia song.
No. That was a joke.
Anyway, well, thanks to Tombstone to Dead Man for our outro music. Look for him on Facebook, and hopefully next week we'll have new outro music.
If I'm good. Patreon.com/Atheist Airwaves. If you would like to support us, we're going to post show right now for those of you in the chat room. If you would like to hear what we talk about, because I think we're going to talk about, I want to talk a little bit about General Jay's Revolutionary Army, and we'll probably talk about necrophilia.
Well, I know we're talking about whether we're dribblers or squirters.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
That too. So now no one wants to. No one wants to hear it.
No one's listening.
Especially me.
We'll see you next week. You're gonna hear it.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
My tolerance for ignorance is non-existent. Why resist it? Because faith-based claims can't go the distance. You're either going to stand up for reality or surrender to the fantasy. But either way, don't care if people mad at me. My criticism's so much bigger than religion. It's about the fact that they're lacking in total skepticism. These days it kind of seems like being skeptic is a negative. So my position is that faith's a type of mental sedative. The type of things I rap about are really not cerebral. There's just an overabundance of really stupid people who get offended when I challenge all that sacred shit. Fussing, complaining, but then abstain from debating it. They want me suppressed, so they try to say that I'm obsessed. That knee-jerk reaction whenever they hear my views expressed. Some other ones that ain't blind sit on the sidelines too scared to offend, but then defend all those dumb lies. You really think these things see you in a different light because you're the type that's passive, you're favorable inside this sight? You really think they think that you and I are not alike and that they don't imagine you burning hot in the afterlife? To them you're just a sacrilegious blasphemy, a tragedy, a heathen who doesn't respect his holy majesty. My contention, you're respected on condition that you never contradict them or speak against their convictions. So this is where I'm making my stand, and now regardless who don't like it or how they get mad, see why the rest of y'all capitulate and go with the plan. I'll be beating on this wall until I'm breaking my hand. So listen while I state official policy. No matter how I'm threatened with hell, they never silence me. I know that you don't see this as imperative, but I refuse to lose and let the stupid frame the narrative. Being a skeptic means so much more than being an atheist. And until you accept that, you won't relate to this. That cognitive dissonance that you experience is when there's things you claim to believe in but ain't living it. Most of you say you are the type to question everything until I hear the conspiracy theories that you echoing. And when I scrutinize the things you try to say are lies, expose your sources as suspect, I see your logic dies. Some still believe in pseudosciences, engage in special pleading when theists use the exact same reasoning. I've even seen atheists use arguments from ignorance and seem oppressed to tell me exactly just what the difference is. A skeptic without the ability to analyze is just as bad as the theist, because it'll probably accept a lie, just as long as it verifies all its bias.
So we're like into like the second part of.
Stop the thing and start
stop
the
recording
thing.
and start
Yeah,
it.
thank you. I'm gonna stop recording. General J is